based on your result, calculate the calculation using your own figure. So in this case, I'm using example. The average cocoa butter that you get will be 0.96 gram in this case, and the average of PG suppository will be 1.14. Ideally, the mole we are using is actually 1 gram. So what does this mean? Imagine this is a suppository mole. If you want to fill up everything for cocoa butter, ideally it should be 1 gram. PEG should be roughly 1.2 gram. But in this case, you can see the value that you obtain is slightly different than the theoretical one. The reason why is because this mole is already used for many times. After heating and cooling, it may go out of shape. And due to measurement error, different instrument that we are using, it will be slightly deviated from the theoretical value. So for your calculation, calculate using whichever value that you get. Okay, let's look at the first question. We are talking about the ratio of the PEG to cocoa butter. Before that, I want to explain to you what is density factor. Density factor is the difference in the density for two different materials. In this case, we are using PEG and cocoa butter. Different material, there will be different density. So in this case, you can see the difference, same volume, but you require different amount. Because of the density and the volume they take up is totally different. Density of the material. In this case, 70 and 30 is the ratio. If you try to mix different grade of PEG, there may be a slight difference in the weight. What about displacement value? Displacement value will be what is the amount of the base displaced by the drug that you add in. You have a 1 glass of water. If you want to add in ice cube, some of the water may overflow. Okay, so in this case, you are forming blank suppository. But in the third part, you are going to formulate a medicated one. So we have to take into account the drug powder that you add in, what will be the base, what will be the amount, will be displaced. So for question number 2, we are talking about the ratio. This is a very simple calculation. You just need to take 1.14 divided by 0.96. You will get the density. Your answer will be 1.19. Okay? So just let me write density factor over here. Question number 3. This is to calculate what is the amount of PEG displaced by 0.2 gram of salicylic acid. Recall what you have learned in the extemporaneous practical session. You were given the salicylic acid displacement value in cocoa butter is 1.3. Now you are going to prepare 0.2 gram of salicylic acid suppository. In order to calculate the amount is displaced, you should use 0.2 divided by 1.3. So this answer over here will tell you the amount of cocoa butter displaced. However, we are talking about PEG. In this case, you have to times the density factor, which is 1.19. Your answer will be roughly 0.18 gram. What does this piece of information tell you? It means when you add in 0.2 gram of salicylic acid, it will actually replace 0.18 gram of polyethylene glycol. Okay? Move on to question number 5. We are talking about the displacement value. You may need to correct your questions printed on your manual. Question number 5. Calculate the density factor. Please change to displacement value. Okay, this will create less confusion for you. What they are trying to ask. I know that salicylic acid, the displacement value in cocoa butter is 1.3. Now I want you to count salicylic acid displacement value in polyethylene glycol. This is the question that you're trying to answer. So you know, 0.2, it will display 0.18. Your answer should be, can you find for me, calculator? 1.11. So in other words, salicylate displacement value in polyethylene glycol is 1.11. Okay? Reverse back to question number 4. You are supposed to prepare the medicated polyethylene glycol. How much material you need to utilize? You can count using the information on the board. First of all, you have to prepare 6 according to your manual. Don't forget, usually we add in 2 extra, so you should use 8. Okay, the material for 8. Now, PEG black is 1.14. Question number 4 times 8. Answer? 9.12 gram of PEG. In this case, we are talking about the blank one. Don't forget, now we need to pour in the salicylic acid. The amount we are trying to prepare is 0.2 gram per suppository. You are preparing 8, so 0.2 gram of salicylic acid times 8 is 1.6 gram. Okay, you are going to add in 1.6 gram of salicylic acid into the PEG base. So how do we know the displacement for the PEG? You should use 1.6 divided by the displacement value. In this case, you have to use this value that you obtained, 1.11. Okay, since you already know the value, you just use this. Okay, very straightforward. Divide by 1.11, you should get the value is 1.44 gram. So this information will tell you, if I add in 1.6 gram of salicylic acid, it will displace 1.44 gram of PEG. Okay? 9.12 gram minus of 1.44. Answer? Answer? 7.68 gram. So once you minus off, you need 7.68 gram of polyethylene glycol with 1.6 gram of salicylic acid. So count this according to the ratio 70 to 30. You should able to formulate the medicated PEG. Okay? Thank you everyone.